football.
Right there.
Definitely someone else's beer.
Definitely
and
not
it was
cool.
like that thing that bottom 5% is all backwash. Peter, talk about the playoffs.
Playoff picture is not backwash. This is all beautiful, fresh.
Not all of it. What are we doing on that far right?
Maybe we should
What the
change
hell is that
lurking
garbage?
to backwash.
We got the Broncos.
We got a team that just benched their franchise quarterback still in the playoff picture.
They're lurking. They're still alive. Browns are right now the 5 seed. They would play at the Jaguars. I think the Browns would be favored in that game. They beat the Jags a couple weeks ago. But they could have bigger sights for themselves. If the Ravens lose the final 2 and the Browns win the final 2, there is a way that the final 1, the Browns can still win the AFC North.
A little loose in the second hour of Good Morning Football on a Friday, so let's play a game, a round of 3 and out.
Yep.
It's the 2 seed against the 1 seed, Sunday, 1 o'clock, CBS, Dolphins, Ravens. Mike McDaniel spoke this week about preparing for a quarterback like Lamar Jackson.
I offered my skill set to be scout team quarterback to try to replicate it, but it was not accepted. So it's hard to even give an appropriate look. He's just that type of player, and outside of this game, I'm just happy for the player, because what I recognize is, you talk about an unbelievable talent, but even him, he's had to say, he's had to define himself. He's had people tell him what he is, and he disagrees. And how can I tell? It's not because I've had a conversation with him. I see better, I hear.
First down.
I don't know why he would be denied that opportunity. Mike McDaniel can scoot now. All right, he can scoot. Lamar is going to play a huge role in this game. But what do you think, Jason, ultimately decides who wins this huge AFC matchup between the Dolphins and the
What's been fun about this matchup? These teams have been so good this season that we haven't even talked about the game where they played against each other last year in week 2, where Lamar Jackson ran for over 100 yards. Tua threw for almost 500 yards. It was so much offense in this game from both sides of the ball. When you talk about who decides, we have the Ravens have been the best defense in the NFL this year, and the Dolphins on the other side, since Jalen Ramsey's come back, they've been one of the best. I said it earlier in the week, I'm looking at Van Ginkel and I'm looking at Bradley Chubb. Can they keep Lamar Jackson in the pocket? Can they not allow him to just absolutely destroy the game? If we come in here on Monday and we're oohing on over the plays that Lamar Jackson made, where he made 2 people miss, rolled out to his left, threw a pass deep down the field, and Isaiah likely went up and grabbed it, or Zay Flowers, I think that is the thing that's going to determine the game, because we know they can run the ball. We know this, that, and that, but can they keep him in the pocket and not allow him to just absolutely wreck the game? I think that's going to be the main thing that we look at.
I loved Mike McDaniel's quote on Lamar Jackson about how even he has had to define himself. People have put labels on him. During the combine, they want him to work on different positions. Of course, Bill Polian had his comments in the pre-draft process. And then after this whole contract thing, all these teams didn't heavily pursue Lamar. This is one of those games where it's 1 o'clock and it's on Sunday, and it's the 1 and 2 seed in the AFC, and you look at the last 2 weeks, that huge win in Jacksonville on a Sunday night, and then on Monday night on Christmas in prime time, he's the better quarterback versus Brock Purdy and made his MVP case. That's a lot of spotlight, a lot of pressure. And then you say you played on Monday. The other team played on Sunday. The Dolphins, of course, beat the Cowboys on Sunday. Extra day of rest, short week for the Ravens. So my whole thing is, we just did the whole crowning of Lamar. That was the week. It's his now. He's the MVP. He sees it. It's over. Shut it down. Harbaugh said it in the locker room. He's our MVP. Fine. No more votes. We're closing voting polls. All right. Well, you still have a huge game this weekend. I want to see what version of the Ravens we get and what version of Lamar, and how does he define himself? Can he keep this thing going? Or is it one of those where we plateau or even take a dip?
I think this game's going to be chirpy and chippy. I like, at the end of the season, when you have 2 very good teams that could very likely play each other again in a few weeks, there's a thing going on where, like, we're going to state our claim now because we know we might see you again. I think we thought we had that last week with Baltimore and San Francisco. That game was not good. The Ravens smashed them. The 49ers kind of melted down offensively. I don't see that happening here. You mentioned Lamar, though. I need a big Tua game. I really do. I think that those linebackers for Baltimore are so good that the Dolphins' running game might not be able to do what they want to do. I'm talking about Queen and Roquan. They're fantastic. So we reached this point with Tua. It's very exciting, where he's never really been in games this big at the end of the season, because last year this is right around the point when he got knocked out. It was right around Christmas, and the Dolphins had a good record, and they went went to the playoffs, and then was like, we're seeing Skylar Thompson against Buffalo. We're not this year.
Remember they got blown out by the Bills week 17 a couple years ago. He had a terrible game. I think he threw, what, 4 picks in that game?
Yeah.
I remember playing him that next year in that game.
Is that right?
That's all it was talked about was that
Right.
game.
We spent the whole offseason being like, I hope Tua stays healthy. I hope Tua stays healthy. He's learning how to fall. He's here. He's standing. I think this is the reason that he was drafted. It's the reason he's here. I don't know if they're going to run the ball that well. I just don't. I think you need a huge Tua game, and I hope they get it.
We continue to see that Jalen Waddle unlikely to play, which stinks.
Yeah,
you want to see the Tyreek, Jalen offensive experience as a whole before you hit the playoffs. Let's take it over to the NFC side of things. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have not lost in the month of December. The weekend of Thanksgiving, this team was 4-7, and now they could win a 5th straight game. This is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Would a win for the Bucs in that nature, which would give them the NFC South title, would that put the rest of the NFC on notice?
I'm not getting there just yet.
You're not getting to the Diaby jersey point yet. Okay.
And I like Yaya as much as the next guy, Clancy, the whole crew up there, Kalijah Kansas. But my thing is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have played really well. They've gotten themselves into the playoffs, chance to win the division. They've done a tremendous job. But you look at it, you're talking about that win streak. They haven't really beaten anybody that's going to be in the playoffs during that win streak. The Jacksonville Jaguars were the only team, and they've been playing just as bad as the teams that are already eliminated from the playoffs right now. I'm not trying to take anything away from them, but I think when we start talking about teams at this point in the season, we're saying, all right, they're putting the rest of the NFC on notice. We're basically saying, hey, they have a chance to go straight through the playoffs and run through the NFC, and we're looking at them to possibly be in the NFC Championship game to compete for a Super Bowl. Baker Mayfield has been unbelievable this year, getting into Mike Evans, Rashad White out of the backfield, but I'm not ready to crown them and say, all right, they're putting the rest of the conference on.
You know what's weird, Jay? Because this team goes to the playoffs, and we're going to be sitting here in a few weeks. You're going to be saying the same stuff because even if they win out, all right, so they beat a Saints team that I don't think is a world beater, and then they play the Panthers last week. So it's like, we're going to be saying, well, they haven't beaten anybody. We don't know what this team is. And I totally hear you. So there's going to be a mystery to them. Listen, I know this is crazy, and Brady's not there and stuff. The Super Bowl team was that team, like, they bottomed out as well. That Brady team, they bottomed out, I think, in October and November. And then they just flipped the switch, and they never lost again. You remember that?
They went on a run,
And they just destroyed everybody. And Brady's holding up 4 fingers. I know it's 3rd down, 4th down.
Yeah.
It's apples to oranges. What I'm saying is they figured something out. And 4 wins in a row is 4 wins in a row. Baker's never played better football in his career. They are a dangerous team. Any team that comes into the playoffs, they're probably going to enter the playoffs on a 6-game win streak. And I don't know who they're going to play, but I think they're going to be there, and they're going to be red hot. There's a lot of mystery about this team. We know them in fantasy and stuff, but Peter, you were talking earlier, like, who's sat down and watched a 4-quarter Buck game, every down of it, in months? They're not in the national windows, but they are now.
And, you know, Mike Evans, before the season, it looked like a lame duck year. He came out and he said, I want a new contract. If I don't get a contract, this is my last season. He's having an amazing year. Chris Godwin, you thought, you know, I know that there was stuff on social media. His wife commented on things. You're like, all right, are they losing Godwin? Godwin's been awesome the last few weeks and has been the ultimate teammate. And then you get these young guys. I'm wearing this Yaya Diaby jersey, and it's half because it's so off the wall that I would wear a Yaya Diaby jersey. But it's him. It's Kalijah Kansey. It's guys like Keeft, Cade Otton. This team is really interesting because when they moved on from Brady, I think everyone assumed 4-13, tear it down. Todd Bowles isn't going to be the coach next year, and they're just going to start from a new. They're really good. They're really good. They would probably host a playoff game, and they're probably going to be the 4 seed.
Okay.
So that means likely Dallas or Philadelphia is who they would play, and they'd host them. I'm not saying that's an easy win for the other team.
Remember the Eagles went to Tampa a couple of years ago with Jalen Hurts first year as a starter.
And Dallas went last year and crushed them.
Yeah. Interesting.
What can Baker do with that scenario and turn things around? All right, that could be a 5th straight for